In this video, I'm going to be covering China's genocide of the Uyghurs. To understand this topic, we first need to know the background of the situation in which why China is specifically targeting the Uyghurs. Well, it all starts in Xinjiang, China, in which 45% of the population is Uyghurs. This is still an ongoing issue in which China's government is promoting multiple campaigns against the Uyghurs because they want to rid of the three evils known as separatism, religious extremism, and terrorism at all costs. So these campaigns consist of identity-based persecution, mass detention, surveillance, enforced sterilization, forced labor, and forced assimilation. If a Uyghur is seen by the enforcement not complying with any of the restrictions that China has inputted, then they are put into vocational training centers, as stated by the Chinese government, but they are actually re-education camps. Since China is mostly interested in cleansing Xinjiang because they had invested too much money into the Silk Road economic belt, which would basically join China to Europe via Asia. Xinjiang was perfect for transportation because it was already heavily industrialized and produced important necessities such as petroleum and natural gas. Not only did it produce these necessities, but Xinjiang is also one of China's main fruit producers. In long term, it meant lots of income for China, so it was very important for the Chinese government to take control over Xinjiang. For the Uyghurs that are kept as detainees are forced to work in textiles and receive very little pay for the work that they do. Uyghurs were not allowed to speak out on their own political beliefs if they did not align with the government's, because if they were to speak out, then they would have to face punishments and be sent to re-education camps. Not only did it endanger the individual that spoke out, but it would also endanger their family members. Some of these family members were never seen again after getting arrested. This is how the Chinese government instills fear within the Uyghurs so that they would not rebel or speak out against the government. The Chinese government's main goal was to eliminate any trace of the culture from the Uyghurs. They have implemented harsh surveillance and monitored the Uyghurs to ensure that they are not practicing their religion. This is possible by using Han relatives to spy on the Uyghur families. They are barred from practicing their culture liberally, such as practicing their religion, speaking their language, and expressing their culture. The Chinese government even went as far as to put restrictions on their diets, education, and the clothing they wear. And they make sure that the Uyghurs do not pray or go to a mosque. So they are closely monitoring religious institutes of the Uyghurs to ensure individuals get punished for disobeying these restrictions. They are now even forcing Uyghur women to get sterilized or get married into a Han family so they can completely eliminate the Uyghur ethnicity group. A good solution to help fight against this genocide is making protests against China's government and spreading the stories of the Uyghur refugees on social media. This will ultimately pressure China into stopping the genocide against the Uyghurs. Based on all this information and evidence that was presented, we can infer that China will not stop until its goal is complete of eliminating any trace of the Uyghurs. They have already sent 1.3 million Uyghurs to re-education camps in which some Uyghur family members are never seen again. China will ultimately get what they are aiming for if we do not stand up and support the Uyghurs.